My name is Greicy Hoo. I'm a therapist and independent spiritualist. How to heal a broken heart? Very delicate subject, right? Who has never suffered from a broken heart? After a certain age, I think basically everyone has
Gone through.
something like that, unless you have spent your entire life isolated from the world, not even with social media and dating apps at your hand. So, this is a very painful situation, right? Depending on how disappointed you got, it can be extremely painful. Or even if you actually had a relationship with someone and it worked well until it was not working well. Because from what I've been observing in life, it seems that everything in life has an expiration date, even
Relationships.
no matter how stable, how long they are at certain point,
They will.
and right, maybe with someone passing away, well, everything has an expiration date. When we start something or when we wish something to happen in our life, we don't expect things to end up right. No one gets married expecting to end up in a divorce after some time, right? But the thing is, everything will pass. People will pass through your life, will cross their lives with yours, and everybody will be gone someday, eventually. And only you will be with yourself for the rest of your life and for eternity. So you better be your best friend. You better be your best partner. That person you trust 100% unconditionally. You better be your priority, your best everything. Okay. But the thing is, even when we are not looking
To fall in love with.
someone, even if we don't want to fall in love with anyone right now because we are too busy with our work and we don't want to lose focus, it can happen. You can eventually, you can meet someone or see someone online because the internet is accessible to basically everyone in this planet, right? So you can eventually be enchanted with someone, even if that person is not trying to seduce you, which is another thing, because seduction is a kind of manipulation, in marketing. There's something that I consider very funny. Marketeers say that if you want to go online and create a profile, it doesn't matter in what media, you should first define what they call your avatar, your ideal client. And what is that ideal client? Well, someone you would like to follow you or buy whatever you are selling. So you create that ideal client, that ideal one, and then you adjust your language, your communication, your image to seduce and get the attention of that ideal one. That sounds so weird and even funny to me because it's like you, as a woman, as a girl, you have an ideal guy in your mind, the one that looks perfect for you.
Or you think would be perfect for you.
Oh.
And then You adjust yourself, you adapt, or you transform yourself.
With
Just one intention to catch that guy's attention, to seduce him, to make him fall in love for you. And it doesn't matter if that character you will build is completely different from you. So then what would be that adaptation or that change actually? You will change your hair, your makeup, the kind of clothes you wear, and your attitude, and you will behave different. If you want a top executive, you will think that you have to be
sexier if you don't feel sexy and extremely attractive.
you will build a character to seduce someone you think would be perfect and fit to your dreams. That's so crazy because if that person, and that happens a lot in romantic situations, or just if you have a crush, it doesn't have to be so serious in terms of feelings. But anyway, then you think that person would like you more if you were different. And that's because you don't accept yourself the way you are. That's the root of insecurity. If I don't accept myself the way I am and I'm not doing anything to evolve, then I will unconsciously think that other people won't like me the way I am too, which is crazy. But anyway, it happens a lot with so many people out there. So they think the other person would like them more if they were different. And then they change themselves in the external aspect. They remain the same person inside, but they will try to hide their aspects they consider not so attractive, not so appealing, not so interesting, not so desirable. And they just build a character not only on their look, but the way they express themselves. So they are deluding their potential clients, but guys are doing the same. They think the same way. So it's crazy, right? Guys and girls acting differently from who they really are, how they really are, thinking that the other person would like them more if they are different. And what happens? If you are not being yourself, if you are playing a character to seduce someone, what if the other person is finally interested in that character? What if you persist in playing that character and the other person falls in love with that character? Of course, the actor or the actress will feel more and more insecure about revealing their inner self because they will know that what really attracted the attention of that crush was the character they were playing. But the other person, your crush, could be playing a character too. So you think you are in love with them, but actually you are interested and enchanted with their character. So time goes on, people keep playing their characters and they think they are in love. And well, actually, I have to say that in my opinion, romantic love is overestimated, very overestimated. Why? To sell movies,
series,
books, songs, to keep people dreaming. It's a way to escape from their frustrating reality. So, romantic love is overestimated because in reality, a love relationship is more complicated than that. You know, that famous phrase, and they were happily ever after. It's just in the stories because after marriage, what happens? Reality has a lot of challenges, especially if you have kids. And if you are a working mom with small kids. So all those frustrated and unhappy married people can talk about this much more than me. But anyway, the thing is, people keep playing that characters, making an effort to hide who they really are in intimacy. But if you want to know someone, there are a few ways for that. First, live with that person under the same roof. Second, have a fight with that person. Because some people have ethics even when they are fighting, and some people go really, really low. Third, put money in your relationship. The bigger the amount, the better. And fourth, fight with that
person,
you live with for money. Those are very specific situations when people can really reveal themselves in an unconscious way when they realize the damage was already done. So people get married because they have that illusion of a romantic love, the perfect relationship, and soulmate, and you know the story. But after some time, maybe 1 year, maybe more, or maybe less, they finally realize that the reality is very, very different from their dreams, their expectations. But one thing is the reality of a relationship in everyday life, living under the same roof and sharing bills, right? Raising kids, whatever. And another thing is when you have to deal with the real person, no masks, no attempts to seduce, because they already got the ring. And the promise that they will be together for the rest of their lives, right? Some people feel finally
at ease,
showing a bit more of their real self once they got married, once they got their partner in a trap. But if the relationship is not so good anymore, then you can do something like a couple therapy, for example. But if the person is not the same as you met for the first time, the one that you fell in love with, if you one day wake up and find out that you are living with or you are in a relationship, not necessarily living with, but if you someday finally realize that you are with a different person that you don't like that much or you don't like at all, in worst case scenario, then I don't think there is much to do if the other person
doesn't,
see the value of self-improvement. Because you cannot change anyone. You can change yourself. You should to evolve. But you cannot change anyone because people only change when they want to and if they want to change. If they don't see the need to change just to please others or to save their relationship, they won't change. If they don't see any problem with that behavior, um, they won't make any effort to change. But if they really value the relationship with that specific partner, maybe they can be humble enough to look for help in order to change, but change for the better, to be a better person in that relationship, but not to please the other person mainly, but because they realize,
oh, I have this weakness or this weak point, and I would have better results in my life if I change this.
right? But if they don't see the benefit of changing, they won't make any effort. Or they can lie to their partner.
Oh, I will change.
But, year after year, and the person keeps making the same mistakes. So it's obvious that they didn't really want to change, right? So if you are not satisfied with the relationship, you can still try to do something, like working on the boredness of routine, making your part. But if you are not satisfied, very unsatisfied with your partner, I don't see any sense in being with someone you are always complaining about with your friends. It's self-sabotage, right? You can always leave, not necessarily look for another person, but just leave to be in peace with yourself and free from suffering from disappointments, annoyance. So being with someone and complaining about that person you've chosen to be in your life, it's a contradiction, right?
You chose that person.
Because you liked them at the beginning. So if you are not satisfied anymore, but anyway, um, that's free will. We are free to make mistakes and to keep making the same mistakes, even with another person. So people not satisfied with their actual partner, if they think that meeting another person and getting another a new relationship would be the solution, oh, that's not the solution. And why? Because there's something in psychology called projection. What is this? Everything that you don't like in yourself because you consider it is ugly, inappropriate, bad, negative, whatever. You put a negative label on that aspect of you. So you don't like that aspect in yourself. What's the tendency, very unconscious, to do? You will deny you have it. Or if you're pretty much aware of it, you try to hide from others and from yourself. And how do you do that? You repress that aspect of you, that side of you. You repress. So denying and repressing anything, it's like having an ugly part of you that you hide in the basement. So no one will see it, and no one will know that you have an ugly side. And that's what the vast majority of people, everyone does eventually. Unless they went through therapy, they have a good therapist, and they are really into self improvement. It's like having internet failed. I restarted the video and I kept talking and talking, but the sound wasn't on, so it didn't record my voice. So, again, unless they go to therapy with a good therapist, unless they are really willing to change, to get better results in life, to have better consequences with their attitudes, they won't change. People change only when and if they want to change. No one changes anyone. So I was saying that it's natural that everything that we consider ugly, not okay, not appropriate in ourselves, we tend to deny and repress. And I think that life is very ironic because it has a very interesting way of forcing us to change by evolving and getting better as human beings. And how life works. Well, life will bring someone that will act like what I like to call a magnifying mirror to reflect what you are denying and repressing in yourself. Very interesting. So that projection thing works this way. If what you are denying and repressing is something that you consider ugly, a side of you that you don't like, a
Characteristic.
that you try to hide, you don't accept in yourself because you think it's not nice. Then, by that mechanism that life uses of bringing someone to your life that will be like a magnifying mirror, everything you repress and deny in yourself, when you see reflected in another person, will irritate you.
God damn it!
See, there's no victim. I don't believe in powerless victim of life, of circumstances. No, it's not that the other person irritates you. You get irritated. You irritate yourself with things and people. Okay? So basically, everything that irritates you in someone or in a situation is a reflection of that same
Characteristic.
you were repressing in yourself. Why did I use the term magnifying mirror? Because what you see is more intense. You will not necessarily have that same side so intense, but somehow, how do you end that kind of irritation? Be humble enough to look at yourself and try to see when and how you have that same behavior. As I said, not so intense necessarily, but somehow you have that same way of acting. Maybe in a different kind of situation. It doesn't matter. But you have it and you don't accept, you deny, and you repress. You cannot change something that you are not aware of or that you deny. Okay, so the first thing is to recognize that in you and accept. Once you accept that
Characteristic.
in yourself, and of course, you have to be humble, but accept with patience, accept as something natural because you are human, just because of that. And once you accept, have empathy for yourself, the next time you look at that person, you will tend not to be so irritated anymore. You tend to, if not feel empathy, at least not to be so irritated anymore. That person won't annoy you so much. And because you did that inner work, you accepted that
Characteristic.
in yourself, so it would be easier to accept in other people. And what happens once you do that inner work? Either the person gets out of your life or they change with you, because there's no need for you to have that magnifying mirror anymore. You have already learned the lesson, right? So this is what happens when you repress something that you consider ugly, negative. But what if it is something that is positive, but you are ashamed of or not aware of, but it's a positive?
Characteristic.
It's different from being stubborn or selfish or whatever. What if it is something good, like your sexy part, your unashamed self?
When you see.
The same mechanism of magnifying mirror that life will use with someone as their instrument. So when you see that same positive, good
Characteristic.
in someone, you will feel like,
Wow, amazed, enchanted by that person.
you think it's that person. Actually, it's that thing that you repress in yourself, that you don't accept or you are not so aware of. But you will project onto that person and they will look so amazing to you. And that's what we call the state of passion. Passion is not a good thing, it's a disease, and it has an expiration date. It's completely different from love. Passion gets you excited and willing to do crazy things. Love is more peaceful. It gives you peace, having like a cozy sensation in your chest. If you don't know the difference, well, maybe you never loved before. Happens. So the thing is, maybe that other person has that good,
Characteristic.
but you are seeing in an exaggerated way. Or maybe that person doesn't have that,
Characteristic.
not that way, but pretends to be that way and plays a character to seduce you and to seduce other people. Or maybe that person doesn't have that
Characteristic.
and is not faking. You, with your
Pink glasses, pink lenses.
Are.
seeing something that exists only in your mind, in your dream, in your ideal partner, you are deluded. And that's why it's easy to identify a passion, because it's very common that after a while, a certain period of time, you are healed. Then you look at that person or you remember them, and then you think, oh my God,
How.
could I be so crazy for that person? What did I see in that creature of God? See, you were, what's the word in English? Passion, infatuation. And maybe your friends can see the real person that you are not seeing and thinking,
What did you think that guy? He's not that much.
but you are in love. See, in Portuguese, we have different words for love, and you are in love, you are in passion, suffering from passion, not really loving someone. So, how to heal from a passion? It's very easy and can be very fast. I know because I did that with clients before, so I know this technique really works. What is it that you find so amazing about that person? Name one.
Main characteristic.
It's very common for women to
Fall.
for what they consider confidence in a guy. They won't necessarily rationalize like this,
Oh, he's so confident.
but they will feel attracted
To.
what they consider as confidence in that guy. Just an example. And with men, is very usual that they will feel attracted, very attracted,
To.
what they consider sexy in a woman, like seeing her as so feminine and so delicate. Well, the thing is, what is it that you consider so amazing about that person? Try to name it in just one word. Then look at yourself and try to identify when and how you have that same,
characteristic,
again, not with so much intensity, but somehow in some aspect of your life, in some situations, you are confident, or not so much, but somehow, or with men, it's very common for them to repress their own sexiness,
because he has to look strong and confident and so in control.
But maybe they can be repressing their kindness, a way of being delicate with people, and not in a feminine way, but you got my point. So try to identify when and how you have that same behavior, and accept. Don't feel ashamed of that. If you are too worried about what other people could think and say, if you were like that, you are like that. So accept and be okay with that. Then look again at that same person. If you did the work right, then they won't look so amazing anymore. They can still have that,
characteristic,
or not, if they are faking, or if you are too deluded. But the thing is, then you will see the real person. You won't be projecting anything anymore, right? So that's how you heal a passion.
look at yourself,
Identify that,
characteristic,
accept it, and that's it. Because what you were once projecting, now you introject it. And it's a way to work on your self-knowledge, right? And why it is so useful, interesting, and important to know how to heal a passion, because the more you deal with a real person, not an illusion, the less you will suffer. That's obvious. But getting back to the subject of this video, how to heal a broken heart. Well, first, the more expectations you have with someone, the more disappointments you will have in the future eventually, right? The more illusions you have, the more delusions you will suffer, and the bigger the pain. But I don't think it is possible for us here, human beings with weaknesses, to have no expectations with people, with ourselves, with life. It's a training to observe our thoughts and pay attention if we are feeding, having expectations and illusions or not. The more conscious you are, the better for you in terms of preventing what I call unnecessary sufferings. So, disappointments. Maybe the other person was faking, was playing a character to get the best from you, to build a good, positive image. Maybe the other person was not intentional,
about,
being a bitch or an asshole. Maybe they were. Or maybe it was just you not seeing the real person. The fact is, disappointments can be painful. And maybe you had a crush on someone and were not corresponded. It happens. Maybe you were disappointed with someone, not necessarily in a romantic sense, but with a friend, with a colleague, with a family member, your parents, one of your parents, a sibling, it doesn't matter. All disappointments can cause a broken heart, right? The more you like that person, the bigger the pain, of course. And there's something very important I need to say. People always give signs of how they are. If you don't see, or if you can't see, if you refuse to see those signs, that's another thing. But people always give signs, small signs at the beginning. Those attitudes they have unconsciously, even if they are playing a character to give a good impression, eventually they will forget to play that character and will give small signs and tips of who they really are. For example, a woman that is dating a guy that she knows cheated on
His ex.
the past. That's a huge thing, right? It's obvious. Everyone who has a past has a history. But she deludes herself and she believes that with her, he will be different because she's special, she's confident, she's very smart, she's not a fool. Or she believes that he has changed and will be a different and better man. Well, in my opinion, based on my experience, unless that guy really wanted to change, to have better results in his life, because he felt guilty and saw the need to change, not to cheat anymore. Unless he has really changed, it's just a matter of time and opportunity for him to do the same with this new woman in his life. So, to avoid a broken heart, it's interesting to see if you are not projecting anything on the person, to deal with the real person. Okay. Another thing is to pay attention to the signs. But suppose you didn't do anything because you didn't watch this video before. How to heal a broken heart. This thing I'm going to tell you, I learned with a spiritual friend. And when I say spiritual friend, is a disincarnated spirit, an amazing therapist, this friend, who taught this lesson, how to heal any kind of suffering from disappointment. Okay, I'm not talking about physical pain. I'm talking about emotional pain, psychological pain. Maybe you are disappointed with a specific person, or maybe you are disappointed with your life. Whatever you consider that God is responsible for something bad in your life or not, it doesn't matter. If you are suffering from a
Disappointment.
and feeling your heart broken, face reality. Accept reality, what it could have been, how the other person is, or what they really did that somehow you
Got.
disappointed, and what actually happened in your life. 3 steps. First, accept reality. And another thing, second step, let go of the dream. Let go of your illusion. Let go of your ideal, your fantasy of how people,
Should have been.
how your life.
Should have been.
It doesn't matter your dreams. The more you insist on being on your illusions or your dreams side, the more you will keep suffering. So if you are not sadistic, if you really want to get rid of the pain, you need to get rid of your illusion, of your dream. Otherwise, if you keep yourself attached to that dream, to that ideal, you will keep suffering from what I call unnecessary suffering. And then you can say,
"Oh, Gracie, it's so difficult."
especially if it was a romantic dream, love dream, a dream about
The ideal relationship.
or your soulmate. Those can be harder to let go. I understand. I've been there, but I learned how to get out of that kind of suffering. That's what I'm trying to teach you, only if you want to learn, because we cannot teach anything to someone who doesn't want to learn. I'm doing my part. If you want to keep suffering because you think it's pretty, because playing the powerless victim would be convenient to give you more likes and positive comments and people's pity or more followers on your social media, and it's up to you. I don't know you. I have nothing to do with you, with your life. I'm responsible for my life. I'm here for those who really want to learn how to deal better with themselves, others, and life. I'm here to help those who really want to be helped. So if you want to keep suffering because you think it's because for some people, suffering from love can sound magical, noble, spiritual, and can be convenient to get other people's attention. Like I said in another video, people are driven by convenience. But suppose you have a broken heart, something that happened, a big disappointment that happened recently or not in the past, a situation you couldn't move on deep inside. You still feel hurt when you remember that situation. I understand that sometimes it can be hard to let go of the dream, the love dream, because the good moments were really good, because that person has or showed a nice side. They're not entirely bad, or they can be nice, but they did things that, were really not okay. And then you can think,
Oh, I fell in love with that person, or I really like that person for their bright side, their nice side. It's hard to deny everything and accept that they're not all that.
I understand that. But one thing is to consider a challenge to let go of the dream. Another thing is to think,
"Oh, it's too difficult."
if someone comes to me with a situation, because I don't like the word problem, and I present a solution, a way out of that situation, a way to change, and the person says,
"Oh, Gracie, but it's so difficult."
you see that voice, like a cat,
"Oh, it's so difficult. I don't know if I can do it. I think it's too much. I'm not sure."
well, let me tell you what is difficult, because I know how to identify a professional victim, that kind of person who likes to
complain,
and feel powerless to get other people's attention, other people's help and energy. They are energy vampires. And I know how to identify someone like that. And not by their acting. Because I know people are driven by convenience. So let me tell you what is difficult. Difficult is what Simone Biles and Rebecca Andrade did at the Olympics. Jumping and rolling in the air, ups and downs. That is difficult. They took years, many years, their entire life to finally be able to do that with almost perfection or perfection from our eyes. They took their entire life to get to that point, to do those moves. That is difficult. So don't come to me and say,
Oh, Gracie, that is so difficult. I don't know if I can do it.
if you really want to stop that pain and heal your broken heart, that's the solution. Very easy to put into practice. If you are really willing to do it, you gotta be firm with yourself. You gotta stand on your side. You gotta fight for yourself, for your happiness, unless you really like to suffer. And talking about convenience, well, if you didn't learn anything from your suffering, then I'm sorry to say you suffered for nothing. And you will probably suffer again for the same reason. That's the worst. Doing the same mistake over and over. It's not because you are dumb, not smart. It's because you don't really want to change, to evolve, to learn how to overcome bad situations, sad situations. But there are people who turn bad things into good things, like a songwriter with a broken heart that can write a beautiful song. There are so many beautiful songs written by someone with a broken heart that reaches a lot of people who will identify with the lyrics and feel understood and comforted somehow. That's a good way of changing the game and having a good result from a suffering. Even better if that songwriter or that singer can make lots of money and success with that sad story, right? But even so, it's expected that someone suffering with a broken heart
Once.
to heal their heart, right? So here's my not tip, not advice, actually a teaching on how to heal a broken heart. Accept reality, first step. And second step, let go of the dream, of the illusion. Don't insist on what you wanted. Accept what
It could have been.
what was, how it was, what happened. The more you accept reality, being very practical and down to earth, the faster you will heal your broken heart. And that's for everyone in any kind of pain,
Due to.
a disappointment. Accept reality. Forget about the dream. Forget about the ideal. And then you can choose if you will continue with that relationship, if you will still accept that person in your life or not. But that's another thing. It's up to you. Again, I have nothing to do with this. I don't even know you. And I'm here just to share my knowledge about how to deal better with ourselves, with others, and with life. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and bye.
Do I have to say my name to introduce myself in every video? That's what marketeers say. Like, you cannot wear the same clothes even if you record many videos on the same day. You have to change to look different, blah 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 blah. I'm not here to deceive anyone, so why pretend I'm recording another video in a different day with a different look? Anyway,